to behave because it's hitting again. What's new? 3,000 years later. There we go. Just gonna share this thingy all over the place. If it'll do what I'm telling it to do by poking at it 50,000 times. Okay, thingy, can you go a little faster? Come, well, you know. Yeah, a little faster, come on. This thing takes 3,000 years just to load one thing. And I'll probably be getting my pension check when this thing's done loading. There we go. Oof. Let there be, I don't know, false light? We'll go with that. So, hello, Nightshade. So, this is one of the things that might make some people go, I don't know if we should do that. Well, just like what mindset I have, along with, funny enough, Mr. Aleister Crowley, do what thou will, but I add my little thing at the end of it. Do as thy will, however, hey little dude, do as thy will, but remember whatever happens afterwards of you doing what you will, your fault. No matter what, good, bad, dreadful, doesn't matter. So to make it simple, you can do whatever you deem fit, just know that whatever happens after what you did, it's you who did it, and you're responsible for it. Because there are some thought patterns that go with the idea of like, you can't have multiple pantheons and multiple divine beings, multiple spirits interacting and working with each other or being in the same space. To an extent, it's true, but also to an extent, that's not really true. Because the big message with that is that there are some entities that are not, they do not work well together, like the angelic and the left-handed divines. They are repulsed by one another. And if you bring them in the same space, well, look at that. You just caused World War III to happen. And that's not taking it as a joke, even though it sounds like a joke. But you're just asking for a nuke to go off. So don't even bother trying to think, oh, I work with both. No, you can't do that. Don't even try working with both. Don't even think about it. Because if you work with one, the other opposing side is going to be less likely to put up with you if you come back. I'm going to have my diffuse mist going because, I don't know, I just have the urge to have some more. But now, I know. I love that podcast too with Nightshade. How come this thing isn't blowing it? Oh, that's why, because there's... Hold on. My little diffuser is hissy fitting. It's not blowing like it's supposed to. No, I'm not going to teach you how to blow on camera. That's not ladylike. Well, but then again, you get what I mean. But when working with multiple pantheons, you have to do a lot of research. Because yes, there we go. Okay. Because there are some entities that if you put together, it's not going to work. And there are some that if you put together, they will actually work very well with one another. Regardless of like where the pantheon yields from. But you have to do a lot of research and you have to pay attention to like the mythological stories and actually have a connection between them and somebody else. No, we're not going to be doing how to blow it 101. No. I would kind of hope you would know how to do that at like your first steps, like the prologue to your character development. No, stop. So Say, for an example, I'll start with an easy one. Hell, a Norse goddess of the underworld. Okay. Her personality is pretty. She's point blank. She really doesn't care about anything or anyone around her, and she prioritizes on the the person that's interacting with her and their best. And she's, again, very honest to the point where she'll even make you cry and say, "Stop whining." Now, with that in mind, Hell really doesn't care about whoever's with her because she's so focused on the person instead. Eris, that's the one of the rainbows and communications, right? No, or is it? No, wait, no, wait. That's Iris. Eris, the goddess of discord, destruction, or discordia. I haven't. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit hesitant with that one because that one's like a. She's like a slot machine. In a nice way. You have no idea what she's gonna do. if you like having the energy of having you have no idea what's gonna happen, if you like being on the edge of your seat every second, Discordia is the one for you. Me, no, I need to have my ground. But so to summarize with Hell, she prioritizes the person that she's working with first. So with that in mind, Hell you can put with technically with Hell she can go anywhere because she doesn't give a Hell doesn't care where she's at because she's more along the lines of I don't care. How are you doing? Good? Good. Oh, Aphrodite's next to me? I don't care. How are you doing? But the thing is, now here's the other thing you gotta keep in mind. One divine and one entity can be perfectly fine, but the other one can respond to this one differently. So for example, like Aphrodite. I don't care if you're here, Aphrodite. You're kind of rude, Hell. Why aren't you even gonna say hi to me? That's where sometimes confliction can happen. Sometimes. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Another big key point. When you're working with the angelic forces, the right-handed, you're kind of stuck. Because you can only work alongside beings that are aligned with the right. For an example, the angelic, the saints, essentially biblical figures. That's pretty much where you're kind of limited to. I mean, if you do want to try and mix them with any other pantheons at all, you can try, but I don't suggest it. Because, like what I've said before, hey Shayna, the right hand, they are bound by something written that they have to follow and they have to do. And one of them is like, if it's not part of us, you have to get rid of it. You have to exercise it. You have to purify it and make it gone. Just saying. That's part of their agenda. And that's just putting it for how it is. But nonetheless. But even if you're going to be starting to merge your pantheons together, like what Damiano said on Black Immersion podcast, which no longer exists, which makes me sad, he stressed having a strong foundation. And by having a strong foundation, that's having, this is where I'm going to stand no matter what. And no matter what happens, I'm not going to be letting this go. This is what I believe. This is where I stand. And it doesn't matter what comes towards me, this thing is not moving. So, like for example, for me, my foundation is hell. Wherever I go, she comes too. No, not at all. In fact, I need to actually revisit Melania or Melania. No, not Melania Trump. No. No, 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 not Melania Trump. No, no, no. Uh, it's actually one of the. It's actually a lost goddess that we only know her to be either named Melania, or the what was that other title she was called? She was known as a darker Aphrodite or dark mistress. I can't, but we don't know her real name. That's like the closest we got. But I'll get back into that when I get to it. But if you don't have a foundation, don't merge your pantheons. If you don't know where you stand and have your primary where you stand, if you don't know, like, okay, I work alongside Hell. For Lilith and Hecate, they're actually friendly to one another. Because the best way I can put it, sometimes the best way to see if an entity is compatible with another one is you have to like read their mythological stories and I'm trying to understand their personality and their behavior. And then when you kind of understand how they act and behave and what their objective is and what they're pushing, you can kind of connect the dots in some way. Like, for an example, Hell is extremely friendly towards Hecate, and Hecate is friendly to Hell. Shut up. Stop. When Hecate brings the souls of the passed on down to the underworld, Hecate guides them with, like a torch, and actually helps guide them to the underworld. Well, with Hell, her being like the one who caretakes to the dead, having sorry, I was not having it. Anyway, Hecate guides the passed on to the underworld and leads the way so that way they can get there safely. Hell, being one who caretakes to the dead, well, how would you respond if you have somebody help you doing what you promised to do no matter what? Like they're like you have somebody bringing you the souls that need to be cared for. Well, that's something that is appreciated. So there's a link right there. Yes, yes. And also, funny enough too, another friendly one to Hecate. This one, this one may not be as evident. Astaroth, from the left-handed path. Hecate is friendly to Astaroth. Believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Because some of the left-handed divines, they actually were also the Egyptian divines. Sometimes you got to go at it like that and just kind of had to like follow the trail and connect the dots. You have to do a lot of research though and pay attention. But now say a situation where you can have it be a bit of a confliction. Let's say if you take Hell, and now if you work with, let's see, I'm trying to think of somebody. If you work with Hell and if you try going towards, what's that necromancer's name from Aztec mythology? What is his name? Aproash, I think. I think that's that necromancer's name from Aztec mythology. But here's the issue. He's a necromancer. Brings back the dead and makes them do what he commands them to do. Hell does not like necromancy because it's disturbing the dead. That's not going to work. Anubis is actually... Well, at first he was the original divine of the underworld. But when Osiris was put back together, Anubis stepped down so Osiris could take the place. And Anubis was over like the funeral rites and as the such. If I'm remembering correctly. I think that was it. Now say if you scooch over to like say now if you're going towards like if you're going to be going like over to Hindu mythology like with Kali. Now you have Kali, okay, goddess of destruction, a Saturnian goddess, but also a mother goddess, believe it or not, a very destructive, dark goddess mother figure. You bring Lilith in, they're going to work very well together. And why is that? Can anybody make the connection? Anybody take a guess why Kali and Lilith would work beautifully together? Anybody take a gander? Not chaos. Because chaos, by definition, is when something has a lot going on, and Lilith is not a chaotic goddess. Believe it or not, she's actually very strategic in the way that she carries out what she's planning on doing. Because Lilith is a goddess that is not only really good at seduction, she's also a really good strategist. How does strategy come into this? Well, what about when she took Adam out? Don't you think she kind of calculated after when he took a bite out of the fruit? Okay, now that he can die, I'm going to think about this when he least expects it. Hundreds of years later, I don't know, it's just like, for me, chaos kind of doesn't fit the, yeah. But I think chaos doesn't really fit the idea that I'm getting with, like, because I would still go with more, like, the more darker side. Well, not really darker, because, okay. Well, it's not, Kali is not, well, I mean, in terms like with Kali doesn't be unpredictable. She just pretty much just comes at you at once, and she doesn't stop. But pretty much, it's showing that side that divinity, if it gets to a point, it will do what it has to do to kind of put something back into check, if that makes sense. Or something can be put, like if something's out of line, it can be like whack. There you go. There we go. Yep, that's much better. And also Hera, believe it or not, is the same way. But because Hera and Lilith, they're both vengeful. They're both very vengeful, except Hera is vengeful because of something that's more dignified. Lilith is more vengeful because of the self. So Hera and Lilith, even though they may not seem like they would be working okay, they will. Because Hera is a queen figure and she expects to be treated like one. Lilith is about self-empowerment. What? And you're talking about the primordial thing, like chaos hasn't just been like that mass that existed. Oh boy, here's the Kraken. Okay, who? Okay, where's Poseidon? Who let the Kraken out? Huh? Oh boy, we gotta tell that fish guy to stop, letting sea monsters out now. But still. With Hera, and funny enough, Hera, like I said, Hera and Lilith, they actually work well together. Because both are about empowerment, because one's a queen, one is as well about ensuring the self is put first over everything. One is vengeful, Hera's vengeful, and Lilith is vengeful. Yeah, but here's the thing. Here is the thing, though. Hera was only vengeful because when her and Zeus got wedded, everybody knew. Everybody knew. And although Zeus was the two-timing guy, the ones that he went with, even though that some of them did try to escape, but not really most of, I don't ever recall some of them or any of them going towards Hera to be like, your man is trying to stick it and he's pointing at me, he won't stop. I did not even recall any kind of incident like that. So that could be potential of where it could have been, maybe have gone differently, but still. At the same time, this was all these sleeping shenanigans happened after when Zeus was planning to get, well, he wasn't planning, but Hera was planning on inflicting punishment to Zeus for going behind her back the first time. So that's when Hypnos came in and tried to put nightmares in his head. But that didn't go, and then Nyx got involved and pushed Zeus back into his place. Then afterwards, Zeus hung Hera upside down by 2 anvils, and she vowed to never do anything against him again. And then Zeus exploited that. Yeah, he exploited that, which to me, that's not really, much of a kingly thing to do. If you're going to be exploiting a vow that someone took, just so that way they would not be punished anymore, that's not attractive, dude. This is why you shouldn't have the youngest be the head honcho, in my opinion, but still. So the only thing that, Hera could do to kind of keep her promise and her vow in check is exactly. The only thing that she could do was actually go after the individual that went behind or back with Zeus. That's the only thing she can do. If she has to, and there have been times, she's actually done stuff to try and stop Hercules. She's tried to harm Apollo and Artemis's mother. But also, it's not that if you would, and Kraken, if you would like to merge his sigil along with Lilith's, you can. If you feel the need to, you can. That's up to you. That's your choice. But the one thing I suggest you do not make the seal around it. Don't put it in a circle. Don't put it in a circle. And the reason why is because if you're putting a circle around a symbol or a sigil, you're kind of trapping it. But now there's a difference between if you're making a space with a triangle and a circle attached to it. That's different. And the idea though then is that if you're going to bring those two together with that one symbol, the idea with the yes, don't put a circle around it. If you're going to be doing it the quote-unquote safe way, when you have that triangle and the circle, you have to make it known that, hey, I would like you to appear in the triangle. That's what I would like. But if you want to just come in out of left field however you deem fit, You can appear however you like to, whichever Lieutenant Divine you're calling. You have to make it known that this is only just for my preference. It's not meant to trap. It's not meant to cripple. It's meant as my preference. If you want to just appear right behind me and just tap my shoulder, have at it. But it's just like it's expressing your preferred way. That's really the intention of it. You have to make it known that the intention of everything is to pretty much have the preference. Mm-hmm. Yep. No bad with Hera. So with Hera, when she found out that somebody went behind her back, you got to keep in mind too, because Hera originally, when everybody, keep in mind every divine, when they come to find out that, oh, Zeus and Hera got married, they were aware of the marriage. So from Hera's perspective, she's thinking like, okay, there's no excuse why anybody is going to think they're going to get lucky with my husband. Nobody's going to think they're going to get lucky because they know who I'm married to. And that's how she's looking at it. She's not looking at it like, I'm jealous. Jealous? Well, what would you do if you were married to someone and they decided to go behind your back and stick it elsewhere? I would be kind of pissed too. I mean, just saying. And that's why, again, it was actually pretty good. Well, the best way with Lilith, I've come to find out, is just be doing what you want to do you, and put yourself first, and making sure that you're always at your best, no matter what. Always. And if you're being in a constant state of being empowered and doing what you deem fit best for you, no matter what it is, and no matter how long you do it, you'll come to see that sometimes you actually start seeing her pop in a lot more. And when you're celebrating, like say for an example, if you're going towards something you've been wanting for a long time, and you've been working so hard for it, and you finally get it, and when you celebrate, you better believe Lilith's going to come on in and celebrate too. Because when you have a victory, she comes to where, like, this is the best way I'm going to put it. If you're having the life of the party because of something that you have grown and pretty much expanded your, like say for an example, if you like got something luxurious that you've been wanting, and just by chance you got it for free or something like that, well, having Lilith see that, she's like, he's celebrating, I want to go to where the party's at. Because if there's a lot of energy and a lot of uplift, that's going to be very attractive to her. She's like, oh, what's going on over here? It looks like a party. I'm going to go in. If something has life to it, if something has a lot of energy, if something has a lot of strength within the self, of like, here, it's like, it's like, oh, you're not going to believe this. I got myself a blue topaz for free. I know, right? Isn't it good? That's going to have her come in like, what's good? Oh. Yeah. When there's a lot of energy and a lot of uplift, she will come and see like, what's going on over here? Why are you so, oh. That's why. But when you're keep being walked all over, and if you're letting things overpower you, if you're being controlled by other people, she's just gonna go, nope, still stupid. Later on down the line, okay, is he back? Nope, he's still an idiot. I thought he was gonna be in his power now, but okay. I wonder how long I have to wait. Hopefully not as long as, me waiting to take it out at him. I hope not. That's a few hundred years. I hope not. And but yeah, that's a true story. Mm. And when you're having mm, sometimes and this is my opinion, most of the time, most of the possessions that do happen, sometimes, and majority most of the time, it's because of a lesser fiend entity doing it, and they're putting on a mask to kind of mislead you. Mm-hmm. So, like for an example, this was back in 2018 ish, yeah. And if Alex is in the chat, remember that one. Well, how it went was like this. There was a man and his fiance. They were expecting a child, and as like about pretty soon to when the baby was going to be born, this entity was harassing them, and the guy was actually messaging my friend Alex, which in turn was messaging me, so that way I could figure out what the heck is this thing doing. So Alex was telling me everything, and comes to find out this thing had a pact made by one of their great grandmothers, one of the two, the victim or the victim's girlfriend, one of the two. Their great grandmother made a pact with it, saying that whatever that she was wanting, she would get that in exchange that this entity would be getting her great grandchild. So, and the entity was claiming to be Pazuzu. So, I mean, the only way that I went about it was bamboozled it out the door. So essentially how it went was I pretty much just told Alex, just text or message him everything that I put in quotes, because that's me trying to like talk to this thing, and then just have him respond back with like with quotes too, and quotes, that way you know what it's saying in return. So pretty much I first started off by saying it. So what are you doing here? And why are you causing these two people so much dread? What are you doing in here? And who are you, by the way? It responded with like, I'm Pazuzu, and that's all it is. Take it or leave it. Message back in response with it to say, hey, I don't know that. How am I supposed to know you're Pazuzu? If all I know, you might be some lesser entity that thinks he's hot. Shit. You think he thinks he's hot, but no. And even then, if you were Pazuzu, don't you think you'd be wanting to flaunt your experience and flaunt your existence a little bit more, and not be all like, I'm him. That's a ticket. No. Wouldn't you want to flaunt yourself a little bit? And it responded essentially like a little kid going like, I can't hear you. I'm like, okay. So then it pretty much just got to the point where I just told it, okay, I'm going to ask you just one more question and then I'll leave you alone, okay? What? So that pact that was made with one of their great grandmothers about you having their kid, I have one question. Just a simple question. Does the pact say you can actually step into their house and be within their space? Like you can actually go into their space and do anything? I kid you not. The response I got back was a ... no. And right there, I just knew. Perfect. Responding back with it, just saying, okay, so The pact doesn't say you can step in their house. Okay, dot, 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 no. Okay. So, what do you think I'm going to tell you to do next? What do you think I'm going to tell you to do next? Mm-hmm. I legitimately responded back to it saying, what do you think I'm going to tell you to do next? Because the pact says you cannot step in their house. And this is where you really have to really think outside the box. Because the thing is that in the 3D world, like 3D, if you have like if you're renting a property from somebody, if you live at a residence, if you own a residence and paying it off, if you own a property or own land, technically, and that's your grounds to use it, you own this property. So since you own the property, or if you're being renting it out from somebody, you have the right to be there, and you have an authoritative say what goes on in there. It doesn't matter if it's on the other plane. You kind of have the say so on the 3D plane, and the 3D and the other side. They're attached the same way. So in this plane, you can actually hold like put your foot down and be like, I didn't tell you can come to my house. Dude, who are you? Oh, you think you're Pazuzu, huh? Well, I mean, I'm straight too, but no, you're not going to have my kid. I didn't say you can come in here. So essentially, point blank, I just told him, get out of here. Stay out. And don't come back, dude, because you weren't even allowed in here. You can't just barge right in like, oh, I must have the kid. No, rude. You can go out there and just stand at the front door and knock on the door. And, kind of be a bit civil. Because you're probably, how old, dude? Even like some, young kids, human kids, can understand to knock and wait patiently before, barging in and being rude. I mean, if some young human kids can do it, why can't you do it? That's the sassy side coming out, but still. So, yep, that entity had to get out of the house. Because the pact didn't say it could step foot into wherever they live, or their property, or wherever they were at. They could not, it wasn't given permission to step in the first place. And then the guy then asked me, but what if it comes back again? Still, if it comes back to mess with you, just bring up that same thing again. Bring up the pact. Oh no, I have a feeling it's close by again, and then I'm picking up on it. The pact doesn't say you can be within X feet of me, dude. Scooch. No. Nope. It doesn't say you can be within this many miles of me, dude. Scooch back. Because a pact is a written agreement that both parties are mutually agreeing upon. So, yeah. Hold on. But anyway, a pact's a written agreement agreed upon by two parties, and if that being said, if it's mutually agreed between two parties, they both agree to it. And the thing is that if you're making a pact involving somebody else without their consent, you kind of you're kind of handing over, like stepping into their property or where they live, trying to get the kid. Mm, that's gray area, and that can be maneuvered and messed with. So you gotta keep that in mind. But essentially, I just told the guy, look, if you have this entity come back around you and trying to mess with you or trying to be sneaky, just tell it straight up, dude. You can't be within that many feet of me, dude. The pack says so. And even though the pack does say that you will be getting my kid, you can have my kid, but when I decide. Because technically, a mother and father, their child came from them. It's their child. So in reality, they can decide when they hand they can decide when they can hand the child over. And I told them, tell the thing this if it gets out of line, and everyone stop hissy fitting again if it comes back to you. Oh, you can have my kid when he takes his last breath. Because here's the thing. When the child has gone all through its life, all the way through, when it takes its last breath, it's dead. It passes away. So it just gets out. Completely outplays and completely whiffs it. Because when the child passes away, yeah, and the funny thing is, the spirit is already to be moved on. It's going to be transitioned over. So, I mean, you can have the child, yeah, but passed away. He passed away because of like old age or whatever. Well, that's why usually most of the time when you make pacts, it's not just a simple like short and sweet. You have to be specific. When you're specific, you have incidents like that not happen. And I mean, if there was an agreement for you to get something in exchange for somebody else's work, like say if you and an entity agree upon doing something, make sure that you're protected, but also be considerate of the other entity, and kind of ensure that you're not going to be tricked like how this incident happened. Hello, Isabel. It's been how long? Moons later? But pretty much, that's one of the things you have to keep in mind with pacts. You can be through with technicalities, but the thing is, again, if you're ever making an agreement with a Lieutenant Divine or make a pact at all, do your very best to uphold it and don't go right to bamboozling yourself out of it. Don't do that. Only if it has to be done. Only if it has to be done. Like in the case with this, with the two people and their soon-to-be child being harassed by a lower level entity because of a pact. No, that kind of thing does not need to happen. Because there's a fine line between, okay, having a pact be fulfilled and then having an entity harass two innocent people and kind of causing a lot of too much havoc with a pact that wasn't even, they weren't even like brought into to actually be part of the negotiation in the first place. So something like that, okay, hold on, no. But if it's just between you and such entity, you probably should really think it through before you put your name on it. Because once you put your name on it, you're expected to hold it. Yes. Baron, well, I mean, I don't know about Baron. I haven't interacted with Baron before, but Hecate is actually, from my experience, and I haven't really interacted with her for a while, but she's kind of mysterious like Lilith, but she's essentially merge together Nyx with I'm trying to figure out like a way to describe her. She's mysterious. She speaks cryptic, in like cryptic messages. She's enlightening, and she's also very supportive, and like she guides. That's like the best way I can describe Hecate. But I mean, she can instantly put dread in you if needed. Oh, and I figured that also. I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I figured I might as well just talk about it too. When it comes to I don't even know why I even talked about this thing. Okay, hellhounds. I don't know why that popped in my head. If the thing with a hellhound, if you catch sight of a hellhound, that's an impending doom. If you see a hellhound, that can be an impending doom of something bad happening. And good luck trying to control one of them, because they can be quite like terrifying. Like for an example, Hell has a hellhound. His name's Gardam, which translates to rag. Here's the thing though. If somebody has a hellhound that has been like pretty much assigned to him, or like from a past life, or yeah, but then again, that's between them and that familiar. If somebody if if somebody has a bond with their familiar, and it happens to be one, then that's just how it is. But if somebody who does not really go alongside working or is very familiar with a hellhound or anything like that, yeah, that could be an incident of something being coming in impending doom. And as well, the chances of like being bestowed a hellhound familiar is not really that high, because a hellhound on its own is something that can cause a lot of damage. And if you don't know how to control it, you're not going to be bestowed one. Because a hellhound can seriously cause immense damage to the point where it can inflict death if it has to. Well, it's dangerous. But again, if you know how to interact and caretake and actually work alongside it, then okay, that's different. But as for me, I don't. Hey, Darlie. Oh, and speaking of tobacco is actually, I swear to God. Really? Hold on. I have to listen to this. Hold on just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, had to do. Hold on. Okay, am I still able to be heard? Because, yeah, I hate putting this thing on my head because it feels like I'm like a call center representative. Okay. And now hopefully you won't hear that in the background. I just don't like having this on my head. I feel like I'm like trying to command a spaceship. It's like, okay. Okay, make sure your chest belt is secured because we're gonna be going flying high and not the kind of high you want. The high that makes you kind of shriek. No. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. Well, I used to many moons ago. I used to do like a lot of. I don't. I don't at all because the thing is, trying to figure out what can withstand space, it being very cold. On top of that, it's just like how much fuel we're gonna need for this thing. How big we're gonna make the tank. What happens if we don't, if it can't withstand the pressure? That is such an Aquarius thing to say, Dolly. And yeah, I don't think you can even hear anything else except my voice. Yeah. Well, there's one thing I know I'm not doing right now. What? It's funny, okay? No. Good. Thank goodness. Oh, well, but still. Nope, I'm not gonna go there. I completely am not gonna go there. Now I got that song stuck in my head. Why you always lying? Lying, why you always lying? Stop effing lying. Sorry. Sorry. I just had to. I'm gonna have to really cleanse this now. I mean, I would cleanse it, but this stupid thing's blowing it again. See, it's blowing it downward, like, it's like I have to position it like this just to, yeah, I had to position it like this. And no, and don't even think, well, screw this joke. Well, it's a good thing it's not gold, right? It's a good thing it's not, gold tinted. No. I just had to. Okay. Anyway, what's in here was the same thing I put in last night. It was ylang-ylang, patchouli, sandalwood, juniper berry. I'm trying to remember them all in my head. Lavender, bit of cassia. I can't remember the rest of them. Yeah, and funny enough, while that in mind, I know I had a little blue one in here. There we go. Seriously, these little things are your best friend, literally. Nothing wrong with that. sometimes it's better just to hang in the multi-wheeler. When in doubt, if you can't find black, you use blue. Blue can be used as an alternative. But I mean, you can use white if you want to, but not the same. Or even purple. But I prefer to use and make my own. But, you know, the kinds that I have made my own, they kind of worked, but they kind of failed at the end. Why for you can use blue as a substitute, or why use the little tiny ones? Well, the little tiny ones, let me just reach into this bottomless pit of honey bear, why'd you take it? Brownies, come back here with it. No, give it back. Brownies, do you want me to don't make me get a hold of you, because I'll tickle you to death. Oh, no, they ran off with it. I just gotta love them. But anyway, the little candles like about that big. Essentially, since they're already colored, and usually most of the time when you do candle workings and you used like a glass encased, well, it's red, and some of those little candles come in red, so there's your color magic thing. And if you're doing like a honey jar, but this one's a different kind of jar that I did and I've been working on. This one is actually, yeah, everybody loves the black candles because, well, because usually black candles, they think, oh, that's usually for, you know, the left-handed stuff. We can't have that. Oh, God forbid. And even also, whenever it's, because usually when I got my black candles back in the time, like back then, I usually just went to Walmart during Halloween time, and I just completely just them all. And people actually looked at me like, why are you buying all the black candles, dude? Why are you thinking that you know you need to ask me questions? Yeah. And also, when they sell skull candles, that's a good one. That's a good time to actually get a skull candle. And one of the skull candles I actually have like in my little hideaway in there. But yeah. Nightshade. Nightshade. Hmm. Anyway, so as I was saying, this honey jar is actually, this isn't honey in here. Instead, the fluid is actually rose water. So instead of it being a honey jar, it's a rose water jar. Pure rose water. And also the little package thing and the herbs that were put into it. And the thing with rose water is like liquid rose. And yeah, it does like the same, it behaves the same as a honey jar, but the thing is with honey though, or even heck, even like basic maple syrup. Maple syrup will actually insert whichever result here. That confused me. With syrup and honey, it'll actually stick. Rose water will actually kind of be more rejuvenating and mending, restoring, and also can kind of also be curative, because rose has a property to it that if you intake it, it'll actually go in and kind of balance your vitamin minerals and pretty much balance out what your body needs and has too much excessive of, believe it or not. So yeah, rose, the mineral nurse. Yeah, my other diffuser decided to go, I quit. Well, okay. No joke's on you. I never gave you a quit date, dude. Now this is a simple little diffuser. Yeah, it's a diffuser. It's a pocket diffuser or portable diffuser. So essentially, whenever I need to go somewhere, or if there's somebody that is like, "Oh, we got a negative Nancy," stop or I'll shoot. Don't make me shoot you now. Girl, this has camphor in it, and trust me, you don't want to get shot with camphor. Try me, okay? And also, there's oregano, so piss it. No. Well, the only downside of this thing, and it's quite the downside. Pretty much from the length of my middle finger, from my finger here, the tip, all the way to my first bracelet, that's how long the charger is. From here, all the way to the first bracelet. That's how long the charger is. That's a problem. That's like, wow, that's not even a full foot. That's like 10 inches. Like, come on, dude. That's not impressive. 10 inches? Come on, dude. Well, some instances maybe, but in this case, that's not a proud thing to have your charger be that long. Like, come on, dude. If you're going to be making something have some inches, make it more than 10, especially if you're trying to charge it. If you're trying to keep something, working with power, give it more than 10 inches. Even Subway's 12 inches having more inches than that. That was so bad, I don't care. Well, back in the day, I used to say that, oh yeah, once in a while I work in the 12-inch factory. That was a long time ago, though. And one of my absolute favorite jokes of all time back then was, just go. Essentially, it went like this. When I was working overnight and graveyard shift at this place, they had a Subway, and I needed to learn how to actually work and actually do Subway whenever somebody needed a break or when no one showed up. So it kind of went like this. Somebody wants a sandwich? Okay, whatever. Go over there, wash my hands, put on the gloves, and then just stand and then right in front of an ass. Okay. This was the first question I asked every single time, without fail. I always asked it this way. So how many inches you want, 6 or 12? Literally, every time. I said, how many inches you want, 6 or 12? And I did not even, my expression didn't even change. How many inches you want, 6 or 12? I didn't even, my expression didn't even change. It was like, 6 or 12 inches, how many do you want? The other person could not, every person literally could not hold back from laughing that hard. And I'm like, why are you laughing? How many inches you want, 6 or 12? Do you want me to choose for you? Because I'm going to give you a 12. Because it's my preference, but still. 6 or 12, make your choice. Do you want average or double average? Trust me, if I can handle the 12, you can handle the 12. What size sandwich you want? Oh, you thought I was talking about that? Oh, you're funny. No, sandwich. And literally, that was pretty much like the best moments when I used to work there. Other than that, it started going downhill. That was a while ago. A long while ago, but oh well. And actually, there was an incident too while I'm thinking about it, there was an incident. Well, I mean, I would even tell the cafeteria lady, "Oh, you want the big pickle? Why not? I mean, if you don't want the big pickle, I'll take it then. Trust me, I can handle it." No. But there was an incident where one of the workers, when I was working down there at the same place, she was cleaning the rest like no, she was cleaning one of the places that people can rinse themselves off and shower. And this let's just say this individual kind of was like trying to corner her in the bathroom, like in the shower room or whatever. And she kind of felt like she was about to get manhandled. She told me over the radio, and keep in mind, I was clear across the other side of the building. As soon as she said that, I pretty much just blinked, and I was already there. Yeah. All I can say is, it sucks to be that guy. It sucks to be him. Because literally, I don't even remember what I said. But pretty much what she told me is that, yeah, you just came like out of nowhere from like out of the corner of like because there was like the doorway. There was like one, two, three, four, and then there was another doorway that was like the maintenance closet, and there was another door to the other side of it. I come through the first door through the maintenance closet, then come through the other one, and then one step, and I'm already looking to see like the guy in the same room as her. I take one step and I look in, and then she just remembers me just screaming like, "Get the out of here! And what company do you work for? Because you're gonna be in deep shit." Yeah, I was livid, and I mean, it takes a lot for me to scream, and usually when I do scream, I lose my voice, which I did that night. But I found out what company he worked for, and yeah, he got fired. I was I don't mess around with stuff like that. And actually, he's lucky. He's really lucky that he didn't put his hands on her when I came around the corner, because if that would have been the case, immediate hands-on contact. If that was the situation, if he had a single finger on her, and if I saw that, oh, I would have just snapped and just be like, "Hey, down you go." No, yeah, no. He would have been drop kicked and would have my foot right on his neck, just planted on it, and just say, "No, no, no. You're gonna lay there and you're gonna be thinking about how much of a stupid idiot you are, thinking you can take advantage of a woman like that. You're gonna learn the hard way, kid. No, no, no. You can still breathe. You're just gonna be kept right there and thinking, wow, I must have made a big mistake. A big mistake? Let me tell you about the story of what happened to Adam. The one about when he got taken out by Lilith for thinking he can just do that to her. No, just stay right there. I wish that was how it happened, though. Because yeah, that really got me mad that one night. And I mean, guy lost his job. I mean, I don't care. If in whose right mind do you think it's okay just to? Funny enough, I'm not even a Scorpio. Well, the closest thing to Scorpio I have is my Venus in Scorpio. That's the closest. That's the only Scorpio. Well, I also have Pluto in there too, but still, that's the only Scorpio thing I have. Yeah, I'm a Libra Sun, Aquarius Moon, Aquarius Sun Ascendant, but I also have this. I also have a Libra Mercury, um, I have a Mars in Cancer, which that probably most likely was the Mars in Cancer coming out. Jupiter, Virgo, retrograde, Aquarius, Saturn, Capricorn, Uranus, and Neptune, Scorpio, Pluto, North Node, Sagittarius, South Node, Gemini, Lilith in Aquarius. So yeah, we got a lot of blowing going on in there. Yep, well, Libra Sun though. So the Sun probably would not have been. The Sun probably not, but I mean the Aquarius Moon ascendant, retrograde Saturn, and the Lilith, because Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, also shows how one's it's like the feminine side that is not afraid to come out and just go quit it, because she originally has the energy of Scorpio with her. Black Moon Lilith can also be up to you. And also, in my opinion, speaking of her, for me, with Lilith, I say that she's one of those very few that she will personally hand you a sigil, or she'll actually have you draw one uniquely. But that's just me. Because for me personally, I don't even have a sigil for her, to be honest. I don't even have a sigil for her. I don't use a sigil. Because she just comes on in just like, don't be stupid. Yeah, I don't have a sigil for her. So I can't really suggest. I'm going to practice with this. But what I know, but that probably was the Mars in Cancer coming in just like, because Mars in Cancer, it's pissed off because you're telling a Spartan warrior from 300, no, you can't have your sword. No, you can't have your spear and shield. Then what am I going to use? Here, have a cookie sheet and a rolling pin. How am I going to beat up people with this? Just don't worry about it. Just make some cookies. So, usually a Mars in Cancer, a Mars in Pisces, that actually can give inclination of being a really good dancer. Having a lot of energy with the feet, because Pisces is the feet. And also doing yoga, martial arts, any kind of like yoga or like any kind of stretching, or like if you're doing like a mixed martial arts like a kata, that's Mars in Pisces. You're using you're using your energy to do something, connecting the spiritual world into the physical, because that's Pisces, is one in, one out. And doing kata, that's actually a form of Pisces. You're taking your physical action and you're bringing in the two worlds together, because Pisces is subconscious and Mars is the physical action. And kata is the merging of the two, because when you're doing kata, you're fighting an invisible man. That's Pisces. Mars and Libra, through relationships, you make a really good advocate. You make a good advocate for providing justice. Yeah. And say, for an example, if you're, and also pretty good, and also that's also really good for law enforcement, because your energy is balanced and it prioritizes the well-being between people. It's able to negotiate and push for fair treatment. And if we were doing, and also music too, funny enough. Pisces is the deepest type of expression, emotional expression, and Mars is lifting weights. When you have the deepest expression, which is music, be playing while lifting weights, that just merges together so perfectly. So out of practice. Mm-hmm. But with Mars and Cancer though, you have somebody that the the way that attack, they attack in a way that's very passive aggressive. Well, it depends on what planet is in the cusp though, for Libra and Scorpio. Depends on what planet it is, because each planet behaves differently in that cusp spot, so it can be different. But Mars and Cancer, the way that they attack that actually goes right for the heart. It goes right for the deepest feels. That's where they stab and attack to. Yep. And that's Mars and Pisces. Mars defending or combating against an invisible opponent. That's Pisces. And Mars in Cancer. The best way that they actually swing is at somebody's deepest sense of security. And mother figure can be quite feisty and have a lot of energy, but also very protective, which my mother was. And still is. And I have to say that's true. My mother was quite, and is still quite the, you come near my kid if you're going to get one of those, yeah. One of these thigh is thinner, but oh well. What's your rising sign then? If you know it, is it? What's your rising sign, Ro? Why not? I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, that'd be a reason. Okay, Scorpio. So that would be Aquarius would be your fourth house then. Opposing would be Taurus. Then the other one would be wait, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo. Okay. So that means Aquarius is your fourth house then. That means mother figure possibly could be it could be it can be somebody. Actually, mother figure can be someone who is an intellectual, someone that makes no sense, somebody that's eccentric. She could have been a scientist. She could have been pretty much in a higher state of awareness. Unique. Nothing like her. Might have been into might have been something that's way different of its time, does as she pleases. Very unique, unpredictable. And also, Aquarius is also a sign that's chaotic. And like real chaotic. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen. Well, but also Ascendant is also... I'm an Aquarius Ascendant and an Aquarius Moon and an Aquarius retrograde Saturn, so... And I mean... Now Capricorn Ascendant. I have that in my Vedic chart. Aquarius Moon is a hot mess. Is a hot mess, that's all I gotta say. So a Capricorn Lugna or Ascendant. So Capricorn is actually known as the most supreme sign. You're probably thinking, why is it the most supreme sign? It has a total of 4 deacons or nakshatras or lunar mansions instead of 3, like everybody else. It has 4. That's why it's known as the most supreme sign. Capricorn Moon's good, especially if it's in the degrees of 6 to 13. That's where Abhijit is. So Capricorn, having a Capricorn Lugna or Ascendant, it pretty much shows that the thought that goes around in your head most of the time involves either 1, fear and anxiety, 2, trying to be in order and structure and trying to put a good sense of self-image out to the world, trying to make sure everything is in order and structured. Is also Capricorn's also the sign of disciplinarian, so there can also be a sense of like going out and actually enacting justice and kind of putting things back into line. It's also having a title. It's also doing service to other people. And it's also, believe it or not, Capricorn's a sign that's also really good at listening. It's also giving practical emotions to people. So like a counselor, spiritual advisors, psychologists, psychiatrists, or pretty much anything involving that you have to listen to somebody. Capricorn can excel in that. Well, Taurus likes to enjoy the money. They like to have all the senses be up to their highest potential. Capricorn knows how to manage it. Capricorn's the best manager sign out of all of them. Virgo is the earth sign that's not afraid to go in and, get rid of the BS and, perfect and get the taintedness out. Capricorn likes to pretty much push and kind of like take action and structure stuff and build onto it. And Capricorn knows how to strategize just like how Sagittarius does, but Capricorn's more realistic about it. If you want someone that's really good with financial planning and actually build a finance plan and actually build a good structure around it, Capricorn's the one you want to go to. And they also are really good at investing because they have a good foundation of understanding obligation first and then fun time. Usually, though, when you're When you're trying to actually see if you're compatible with somebody, check the moon first. Moon first. Because that's their mind, the way that they think. If you have somebody's moon be like, for example, if I have an Aquarius moon, if that's just the sun though. hmm But also Capricorn knows how to prioritize. They know how to give something some attention, then after it gets plenty of attention, it then goes on to something else. It knows how to balance and being able to keep things functioning. It's a manager sign. And also, even though it does represent the goat, it is also represents the crocodile. And both are opportunists. They know when to strike when needed. They don't just go willy-nilly. They're able to be patient and wait, and then when the time's right, go. And speaking of Capricorn and Taurus, I have to say, hold on. Let me find 2 cards real quick. There's one of them. Missing one card that's needed. Where the bloody heck is it? Is that it? Nope, that was a prank. There he is. So. Oh! So, usually when we see the He Who font, people think, oh, that's a Taurus card. Hold on. Taurus is a sign about indulgence, enjoying the senses, and being in luxury. And also the most whimsical. But if you make them mad, they will. Whoa. But He Who font. I actually think it's a Capricorn card. How's it a Capricorn card? Well, what's the Pope? He's somebody that has a title and a status. Capricorn's a sign of title and status. How does the Pope teach? He teaches by intimidating you. Because if you don't follow what he does, he'll send you to hell. Capricorn's a sign of intimidation. What happens when you put a guru in the sign of Capricorn or Jupiter in Capricorn? He's pissed off. Because now the guru has to cheat. Now the guru has to teach by intimidating you and striking terror into you. So that in mind, what happens when we have also Jupiter having a title and working towards a title, and then he's all like, I'm a guru, notice me. Isn't that like what the Pope does too? Comes out, kind of a little bit lavish. Isn't that like what the Pope does? Notice me. Take a look at me. I am a guru. No, you're not. The minute you say you're a guru, you just messed it up. And also having a title and a status and flaunting it. And then here comes the reverse. There's the devil. Okay, usually the devil is seen as like indications of like addiction. Well, when you're addicted to something, it brings you a lot of pleasure, doesn't it? If something brings you pleasure, it's an enjoyment that's out of line. So if it's out of line, it's like the devil. It's a pleasure and an enjoyment that has a lot of power over you and it controls you. But still, also, the devil is having the understanding of enough's enough. What sign likes to indulge? Taurus. What sign likes to stay fixed and needs to understand that enough's enough sometimes? Taurus. That's why I think the devil and the Hierophant need to be switched. Because the devil wants you to enjoy, but also understand when enough's enough. The Hierophant wants to be noticed because he is a guru, and he likes to teach by intimidating you. Mm-hmm. And actually, really, for the devil, though, there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying your life and enjoying and indulging in it. But also, devil's advocate, meaning that, oh, you're ruining the fun. Well, he kind of cares, don't you think? If you have a figure trying to tell you and being the devil's advocate, like, I think you've had too much to drink. Maybe you should stop, rest up, and have more fun tomorrow. That's not bad, being a devil's advocate in that way. That's kind of, being considerate and wanting to make the other person stop for their well being. That's not bad. That's actually very noble. But that's none of my business. Oh, the devil's so bad. Why? He kind of is concerned that you're kind of putting too many bottles of vodka in your mouth, and he wants you to stop and learning to understand, but still. But hey, the good thing about with the devil's advocate, though, they pretty much make it like, that's how it is. It doesn't have to be nice. And it's not intended to be nice. It's intended to just tell you the truth. As it is. If you like it, woo. If you don't like it, boo-hoo. Deal with it. That's it. Because in most of the time, the truth is not always meant to be all sweetie and cupcakes. Sometimes it's a big, ooh, stab through. Sometimes it is. It is what it is. If it hurts your feelings, well, at least you know how it is. Then be all like all woozy wooed with some BS. And then later on down the line, you realize, oh, it was BS. I don't know. Oh, I don't know what just happened, but I'm going to be ending it here because something happened and I need to grab myself. So.